Welcome back. We get to visit some amazing places here at Black Tie Lunchbox, and in our Speak Your Piece segment, we'll talk with the people who are charged with the solemn task of representing their constituents in their amazing communities. As a programming note, please know that we will be interviewing Democrats, Republicans, and third-party affiliated candidates and individuals who are serving their constituents in either municipal, state, or federal functions. Now, we couldn't have a more distinguished guest than State Representative John Piscopo. John Piscopo is a Republican. He serves in the Connecticut House of Representatives in the 76th District, which covers Thomaston, Harwinton, Burlington, and part of Litchfield. He was first elected in 1988, where he defeated the incumbent at that time by 63 votes. The following election, he won his election by over 1,000 votes, and the following after that by over 3,000 votes. Now in 2014, John Piscopo defeated his challenger by over 4,884 votes. He is currently the Chief Minority Whip, and it's a pleasure to have you here on Black Tie Lunchbox.
Well, thank you, Joe. It's a pleasure to be here, and welcome to Thomaston and the Thomaston Opera House.
This is an amazing place, an amazing community, and it's so great to talk right here at the Thomaston Opera House. I know that KJ will be having a segment later that will be discussing the history of this fine institution and beautiful place. But I'd like to talk to you about your role in state government. And the first question I have is that it's my understanding that Connecticut defines state representative as having a part-time job. Do you find that you have a part-time job?
Well, not all the time. In fact, after I leave here, I have a meeting up in Litchfield where I'm going to meet with the troopers up there to try and iron out a better way for the Harwinton Fair, so it makes it easier for the Harwinton Fair to work. There's always constituent work all year long, so it's definitely not part-time. It is part-time in that we're only in session for a part-time of the year.
But there's a whole other segment of your job that is not the session work, that's beyond that. That's constituent work.
Yes.
What's the #1 issue for your constituents, would you say?
Well, the #1 is taxes. I think people are really taxed out. They've reached their maximum, and I think that's the biggest complaint. My biggest constituent work would be, I think, if I had to be probably healthcare. Ties up with insurance companies, someone not covering something they thought was going to be covered, people facing higher bills and co-pays and that kind of thing. So I think that's the biggest constituent service I have.
I see. And now the people should know that for all the work that you're doing, the representatives get $28,000 a year. So I'm sure that covers all your expenses of everything that you do, right?
Yeah, it's tough. It is tough.
What do you think about the idea of Connecticut having perhaps a full-time position, considering it a full-time position, considering it would seem to me that that's a full-time job that you have, not just in session, but outside of it?
I've always resisted that, Joe, a full-time, because what a part-time citizen legislature does is it forces us to go back home and get other jobs, to work in our district among our constituents and realize how they're working. I think a part-time citizen legislature is a healthy move, and I would fight to preserve that. I think having us sequestered in Hartford all year would not be a healthy thing to do.
I appreciate you speaking your piece on that.
Sure.
Now, in terms of the state legislature, the House of Representatives in Connecticut, there are 151 representatives. Currently, for this year, there are 87 Democrats, there are 64 Republicans. Now, for the Senate, there are 36 seats, 20 of which are held by Democrats, 1 working family, and 15 Republican. Now, if a voter was turning 18 in order to vote, they would have been born in 1997, which sounds crazy to me because I hate to be reminded of my age until I look in the mirror. But they will never have experienced a time in their lifetime where the Republicans were in control of the representatives. What do you attribute that to, and do you see a path forward for that party?
I do see a path forward. What I attribute the past to has been, I think, the makeup of the constituency. It's city versus suburb, if you will. When we went to one man, one vote, the legislature was vastly changed that way. And it changed since then when we only represent a section of the populace. So that the cities, traditionally Democrat, have dominated since that move. Now we have been making inroads lately. We gained 10 seats 4 years ago and 12 seats 2 years ago. So the trend is back, and I think if we show with a good election in November, we have a very, very good chance of taking the legislature back. Historic, it would be a historic move.
Now, speaking of history, it was in 1984 that the Republicans actually took both the House and Senate for the state of Connecticut, and that was during the time of a Reagan election. With the presidential election coming up, first of all, you're a Republican. You haven't thrown your hat into the ring as a presidential nominee.
No, I have. Probably one of the few.
Okay. Do you see this upcoming election as a Reagan-esque type election? And if so, do you have a particular favorite that you see now?
I do see that. I see the trend happening. I think people are ready for a real change, back to the conservative, market-driven, individual freedoms, individual responsibility, limited government, less taxation. I think people have seen the division now of the Democrat and Republicans, and they could divine what both parties do. They're not lumping us all into one. So I do see that move. And as far as not having I don't have a favorite yet. I like them all. There's a lot of great people in the running for the presidential race, and I just like a lot of them. I think there's a lot of substance there.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break right here, and then we'll be back with Representative John Piscopo. This is Black Tie Lunchbox, and I'm J. Timothy Quirk. We'll be back in a few minutes. Hey, Jay, here in Thomaston, we've talked about the art, the history, and the culture and politics. Now, we've talked a lot about Thomaston. What are you going to do after this program?
What am I going to do? I'm going to paint the town red.
We'll be back after this. We hope that you're enjoying Black Tie Lunchbox. To find out more information about our program, please check out our website here, which is blacktielunchbox.com.
Right.
We'd also like to invite you to check out our Facebook page, which is Facebook/Black Tie Lunchbox.
Like us.
And please like us, and you'll find more information about our show. You'll find clips of our show and even links to our episodes. So I hope that you enjoy our exploration of Connecticut as we enjoy exploring Connecticut with you.
Thank you for watching Black Tie Lunchbox. I'm KJ.
And I'm J. Timothy Quirk.